In today's video, I'd like to take a look at how Trump has completely remade the GOP into his own image, in effect branding it with the mark of Trump. There's also an interesting parallel between Trump's current lordship over the GOP and the manner in which the antichrist will eventually rule the entire world. Looking back over the last few years, we have seen a number of remarkable events throughout the world, and none have been more remarkable than Trump's ascension from reality TV star to king of the GOP. And beyond being the face of the party itself, Trump has what can only be termed as the ultimate weapon, a fanatical following willing to do or say almost anything in his support or at his urging. So far, Trump has only scratched the surface of this immense power. Overall, Trump's control of the GOP is so absolute that any Republican who dares to go against him for almost any reason is immediately subjected to accusations of disloyalty, to being a rhino, to even committing treason. This past weekend saw the CPAC 2022 get-together, and speaker after speaker lauded Trump and vilified his enemies. Vendors sold Trump 2024 hats, the gold statue of Trump made another appearance, and all in all, the conference was another celebration of Trumpism. And this demonstrates how Trump is actually getting stronger all the time. Ralph Reed, the longtime Republican strategist and founder of the Faith and Freedom Coalition, points out that Trump has actually benefited by losing the election. It's extraordinary. You can make the argument that he's in a stronger position within the Republican Party today than he perhaps ever has been. In many ways, the party may be moving in a more conservative, more populist, and more Trumpian direction with him out of office. Those opposing Trump on the right have been few and far between. However, there are a few brave enough to do so, and it's in their statements that we see the unworldly control Trump has over the rest of his party. Jason Shepard is the former Cobb County, Georgia GOP chairman who resigned from his local party after it voted to censure Republican Governor Brian Kemp, one of Trump's political enemies. Shepard talks of an almost religious zeal within the GOP. It's become almost a religion in the Republican Party. You have your believers and you have your heretics. And anyone who isn't willing to follow Trump 100% or wants to question Trump, that's now the new definition of a rhino. Think about that for a second. The current status of the Republican Party is that you must be behind Trump 100%, otherwise you are not a Republican. In the religion of Trumpism, you are either completely loyal to Trump or you are with the enemy. And of course, we have Liz Cheney, who, despite her well-known conservative record, is referred to as a rhino and a traitor because she dared to go against Trump. Cheney recently blasted her party's unwillingness to stand up to anything Trump does. I do not recognize those in my party who have abandoned the Constitution to embrace Donald Trump. History will be their judge. There have been a number of Republicans who did speak out against Trump a few years back, but strangely changed their tune sometime later. See if you can guess who made the following statement. He offers a barking carnival act that can be best described as Trumpism, a toxic mix of demagoguery, mean-spiritedness, and nonsense that will lead the Republican Party to perdition if pursued. Let no one be mistaken, Donald Trump's candidacy is a cancer on conservatism, and it must be clearly diagnosed, excised, and discarded. Give up? That statement was made by none other than Rick Perry, former governor of Texas, and who later became the energy secretary under Donald Trump. Here's Perry making his statement critical of Trump, and pay attention to his line about perdition.
He offers a barking carnival act that can best be described as Trumpism. A toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense that will lead the Republican Party to perdition if pursued. Let no one be mistaken. Donald Trump's candidacy is a cancer on conservatism, and it must be clearly diagnosed, excised, and discarded.
A year later, Perry not only changed his tune about Trump being a barking carnival act, but he went in the complete opposite direction, stating that Trump was chosen by God.
And I shared it with him. I said, Mr. President, I know there are people that say, you know, you said you were the chosen one. And I said, you were. I said, if you're a believing Christian, you understand God's plan for the people who rule and judge over us on this planet in our government.
We also have other well-known politicians who had choice words to say about Trump a few years ago. Here are two that you might recognize talking about the type of man Trump is.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. I've been in the Air Force for 33 years. I retired this June.
This man is a pathological liar. He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth. And in a pattern that I think is straight out of a psychology textbook, his response is to accuse everybody else of lying. He accuses everybody on that debate stage of lying. And it's simply a mindless yell. Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
Things are a bit different nowadays, as both Graham and Cruz strongly support Trump. Not long after they gave those remarks, they came to the realization that their political futures are tied to Trump, and their political futures are more important than their own personal integrity. Since the 2020 election, the GOP has largely purified itself of those Republicans who oppose Trump. Either they are retiring, or will face tough primary battles from pro-Trump challengers, or are now relegated to the sidelines in a party that swears its allegiance to one person. Any Republican with serious political aspirations must now express their loyalty to Donald J. Trump. There is simply no other way forward in the GOP. And all of this required loyalty and allegiance to Trump above anyone else is, in essence, the enforced worship of a man. Trumpism is now more than a cult, it's a religion. And those who practice the religion of Trumpism are not only purifying the Republican Party of heretics, but they are primed to gain all the power they need to go after Trump's enemies. Those enemies of Trump, real or imagined, will be everyone that Trump seeks vengeance against. That's the media, the left, the never-Trumpers, the previous administration, and of course everyone who had a hand in not helping him overturn the 2020 election. But more than that, Trumpism is all about the loyalty to and worship of Donald J. Trump. And because of this allegiance to one man, Trump has consolidated his power on the right and will keep getting stronger and stronger as he continues on the road back to power. This extreme loyalty to Trump that we're seeing in the GOP is a foreshadowing of what will happen on the world scene in the near future with the Antichrist. For it is the Antichrist who will reign over the whole world, and he will require loyalty so extreme that the false prophet will institute the mark of the beast to enforce that loyalty. What we're seeing play out right now in the GOP is the elevation of one man to a status of not just the kingmaker, but to the king himself, the once and future king who will soon return to exact vengeance upon his enemies. Let no man deceive you by any means. Donald J. Trump is the Antichrist.